Okay. Hello, everyone. Just gonna do a quick pitch for Pigman, my Pigman comic book. I hope you're out there. If you're not, just check us out later. Let's see if this is go. It looks like at least X is good. And Facebook, which is okay, great, because it said it wasn't allowed, it wasn't permitted to do it. So that's good to hear. I like that. So far, I don't see YouTube here at least, but let me just see quick here. Let me put you on this, just quick. Let me see if it's on here. I'm always trying to get acclimated here. I apologize. I got to get better at this clearly. Yes, it looks like it's all go. That's good. That's good to know. Okay. So I just want to say hello, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. Happy Father's Day. I just want to do a pitch for Pigman. I want some more backers. I want to get a little more pumped up before I start to get it out there. Pigman, twin brothers, recovered Muslim versus born-again Muslim, echoed by the battle between Pigman and Super Jihad, who are like brothers. They were both ex-Muslims. They worked together against Islam Jihad, co-writing books together. They had a falling out on 9/11. As soon as the second tower was hit, Frank Warner, Pigman, is like Islam Jihad, and his old friend collapses onto the ground and says Allahu Akbar for the first time in years. As a Muslim, he's a born-again Muslim. And in his mind, once he saw that second tower hit, he realized, yeah, this is the power of Allah in his own twisted mind. And also the brother, Salam Duka, did the same thing. After he saw the second tower, putting his arms up in the air, celebrating it. I want to see if I can play the trailer. I don't know. I'm going to see if I can. Let's see if I can hear it on here. It might be okay then. Let's see if that works. Give me 1 second. Okay. I'm going to see. My name is Bosch, and I'm a recovered Muslim. I was born to Albanian Muslim parents in the Bronx, New York, and I forgot about Islam for years. 9/11 hits, and it all comes back to me. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to respond to this with my art. I'm going to exploit the Islamic enemy's bigotry. And I wanted to have this big force of nature wrapped in pigskin leather and go after him. He's an ex-Muslim himself, like me. And just go out there and pummel them out of existence. It's based on my life, my reaction to 9/11, my Muslim background, and then I bring that forth to the brothers and the twin brothers in there. One is a recovered Muslim, one is a born-again Muslim, and one of the brothers, the recovered Muslim, creates a comic book called Pigman within the story. He's my standard. This is a special edition of Pigman #1. It has bonus material, extended scenes. So I just want to thank you for taking your time to listen to this and consider getting Pigman #1. Thank you. Thanks for indulging me. Haven't played in a while. I think it did actually go through. Again, I'm still trying to figure out sound and all that. Unfortunately, I thought I had it all figured out, but I guess not. Anyway, I just want to say thanks to anyone who's out there. It's a comic book like no other. To be blunt, I don't want to talk it up too much. I don't care for saying this is the great comic, great art, great story. I don't care for that. But what I will say is that there's no comic book like it out there because why? Because that's true. It's not a subjective thing. It's an objective fact. There's no comic book that takes on Islam and jihad, not just jihad, like Frank Miller took on with Holy Holy Terror. And in that case, he even only just took on Al Qaeda very, very narrowly. Uh, he made it clear in interviews that I don't know squat about Islam. And I called him out for that years ago. But anyway, so I'm just wanting to get this out there. I want to get out there as widely as I possibly can before I finally get it out to the backers and launch Pigman number 2. Here's my final cover in the campaign, which again I just relaunched right now. Well, not relaunched, but I went live again for some final backers, which I definitely want to get. I want to get a good number more backers, so I'll see what I can do with that. This cover covers the story in a lot of ways. The Twin Towers, the twin brothers within the Twin Towers. That's not by accident. There they are. That's Killian Duke and Salam Duka. Red, he wears green. You know, his brother Salam wears green. It's a favorite color of Muhammad. It's a color of Islam. Um, hey, piece of pen. How are you? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You know, it's got to be done, and by word, by deed, by every means possible, on every front. If we fought this war culturally, we'd be far better positioned militarily and politically. We just would be. We need some, cultural backup, and things like this. Hopefully, it can get some people to think. Okay, if we start telling the truth, if we start doing it in creative, entertaining ways, that truth can really go across the culture, and we'll start imagining what life would be, taking out this enemy, and living towards a future that's far more hopeful. But yeah, so I just wanted to describe this cover here. Again, it's a Twin Towers, the twin brothers. When they go down, when the towers go down, the brothers go down. The brothers' relationship goes down. Um, Here is Killian Duke. He's the hero of the story. He's drawing a superhero. His brother Salam is drawing a monster. That's not by accident. In one of the towers, Salam is, he's praying, Allahu Akbar, and Killian is standing up and walking away. He's getting off his knees and walking away from Islam. Here they are in the mosque, local mosque. There's Yvonne Warner, which is Frank Warner, aka Pigman's wife. And here's Pigman taking out jihadists in the fire, walking through the fire. And above him is Super Jihad, his old friend Muhammad, who ends up having the moniker Dr. Muhammad, who is an advisor to Barack Obama. This story goes all the way from Bush to Obama to Trump, and it'll be interesting the Trump part because, hey, Alistair, how are you doing, man? Thank you. So yeah, again, I just want to show. I think it's important just to show these type of things because sometimes people just don't think about them. Twin Towers, twin brothers. The towers go down, the brothers' relationship goes down, and it becomes, Killing Dude becomes recovered Muslim, a recovered Muslim, not a recovering Muslim. It's like a recovering alcoholic. No, he's a recovered Muslim. He's fully recovered. And Salam is a born again Muslim. And born again Muslims usually they're more dangerous because they got a lot to prove in their mind. They have let down their religion, their God. They let them down because they didn't take the faith really seriously enough or deadly seriously. So they have a lot to make up for it, and that's why they become a lot more. They become like the fanatics of the bunch. Even first generation Muslims sometimes they come to America and they're a little more passive about their Islam. It's the second generation who tries to really push it. So just wanted to show that. And here was the first cover that I did. It's here. Pigman had taken out a whole pack of jihadists, and they're scared shit. I like showing that. I like seeing this enemy scared because their whole thing is about terror, right? Well, they are being terrorized by something that they don't want to deal with. Ex-Muslim, a powerhouse who keeps expanding on his power. Each issue, his suit gets a little more empowered, a little more stronger, a little more protective, a little more he can fly at a certain point when pigs fly. My first ad sheet for Pigman was in 2005. I had created them before that, but 2005 I went to San Diego Comic Con, and I was selling copies of Table for One, my first graphic novel, and I had this ad sheet of Pigman, and it had on one side it said, "When will comics take on jihad?" And on the back it said, "When Pigman flies," instead of when the pigs fly. And it was a different looking Pigman. He didn't have yet the eureka moment that I got later, which was the pigskin leather clad gloves, belt, mask, and boots. And I love it because in their mind, you come in contact with the pigskin, you might not make it a paradise. They're too tainted. And I like that aspect. It's fun. And as I call it, he exploits the Islamic enemy's bigotry. I can say it till no end. I can laugh about it. Yeah, it is the comic books and goods. It is. It's like, it's like even something, it was something once, someone said a picture. I said a picture, pig. Here's a, but exploiting the Islamic enemy's bigotry has been a line that, again, it was with the eureka moment because what happened? I was looking at Pigman, I was drawing him, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to give him a pink mask. I'm not going to give him the color of a pig. Imagine pig gloves. I actually drew it that way once, and it didn't quite work. I had like military colors. I had a few other things, and then I said, you know what? And I had him with cut off shirt, showing the hairy arms like Wolverine style. I had a whole load of things, and I said, you know what? I want something strong, very dramatic. I love like the Daredevil costume. He can swing on a swine line. That's right, a swine line. He also calls the Saudis the Saudi Arabia, female pigs. Anyway, I just wanted something like dramatic, like Spider-Man. The best Spider-Man costume to me is the black and red, with a little slight blue highlights. The Daredevil costume, with the crimson, the heavy blacks on there. This is more than blacks than Daredevil has, but I just love that look. It's like a very, very dark red with some nice highlights. And it worked for me, it worked. And then you have the rust color, the pigskin leather. And I was thinking about pigskin work boots, pigskin work gloves. And I said, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap him in pigskin leather. And in the end, it'll be all wrapped up, the book itself, the final hardcover, Pigman book in pigskin leather. It'll be Islam-proof, Muslim-proof. So that'll be fun to finally wrap it all up in the whole story. Yeah, so I just want to make this really final pitch. I don't know exactly when I'm going to close it, but very, very soon I will definitely let everyone know about that before it closes. But I just want to make sure I can get some more backers. I want to keep this alive for a little longer. This is the best-selling cover here, the war paint, Pigman war paint cover. It's a dramatic image. It's one of my best images, and I think it was one of the most popular images. So it makes sense. It would be the best-selling cover. And if you look close, you see the little details of the eyes, and in the comic, actually, if you look close at his eyes, there's a red line within the eyes around the white part, which is a nice little touch when I was designing it. Thanks, Alistair. Great use of blacks. It's the best style, like Daredevil, Spider-Man, Batman, of course, Pigman. Yeah, I just love it. It's a very dramatic. That's really what it is. It's a dramatic look. I didn't want to make it like if it was all pigskin, it wouldn't work at all. So I put the things that pop off him. Like, if you look at him here in this image, looking over Osama bin Laden. It's a very dramatic image, I think. I'm the one who drew it, but it is to me. It's a strong, and his build. He's big. He's not ready for prime time. He's a little over, but he said to hell with it. After he heard Bush say Islam means peace, that was it for him. He's like, okay, that guy just crippled our war effort. We're in trouble. So while he fights on two fronts. Pigman, as Frank Warner, he writes against Islam and jihad. Always does it with his blog, with his books, his appearances on television, and he fights culturally, ideologically, intellectually, and he fights on the battlefield. And he's out there
and he's killing these guys. He's not negotiating with them the way the Trump administration is doing now with Iran, which is really, it's sickening. You quote unquote negotiate when you wipe them out, when you wipe out enemies. We quote unquote negotiated with Germany and Japan after we pummeled them out of existence, all other troublemakers, where they were ready to say, okay, we have these guys still fucking around, still threatening us, still. And Bush, Trump, that's funny. I mistook him because he's acting like 4 months ago, he bombed them to smithereens. Beautiful, right? Great. He ended 47 years of appeasement, and now he's negotiating with them before they're cooked. Doesn't make sense. It's pathetic. So, here I am in my fictional world. What would I do? Well, people say, what would you do? I said, this is what I would do. I would take it right to them. I would kill them. That's it. And it's amazing what killing jihadists does for would-be jihadists. They actually think for the first time in their lives. Not think twice, but they actually think once, like, maybe that's not a good path for me. Because if I go that way, I'm going to hell. I'm not going to paradise. Because he'll come after me and touch me and send me to hell. That's not, and in the story, he actually pummels jihadist groups out of existence, right? Wipes them out, and no one takes their place. Because they're like, I don't think this is good for us. They start fearing him more than they fear Allah. That's important. We haven't done that. We haven't done that on any way, in any way. And still, we're having people still talking about it's not Islam, it's Islamism. Guys, I mean, enough. We're 25 years almost after 9/11. We're still talking these name games. That's why I said, the difference between Islam and quote unquote Islamism is 3 cowardly letters. We have to make peace with the fact that this religion is at war with us. It motivates a war with us. And showing it in some form, at least, giving the enemy what they deserve to get in some form, I think is important. And I'm just one man here having one comic, but trying to get it out there. And it's good to see, personally for me and also for readers, I think it's good to see these guys get it in the way they deserve to get it. So when he comes across Osama bin Laden in the cave, because they're cavemen, he goes, I'll shoot, I swear. He goes, don't touch me, because he knows about the pigs and leather. It's fun. Comic Book St. Hoot says, it's similar, Pigman suit is similar to Wolverine's 80 red-brown of the brown and tan costume. Yeah, I mean, I would say that, yeah. There's something there to be said about that. And his look, if you look at him, he has that, I think that burn type mouth that he gave Wolverine, which I loved. It's fun. And again, it works for me, the rust color. It connects also his a creator within a comic. Yeah, I'm the overall creator, yes, but his creator, Killian Duke, he has red hair, and it's like a rust colored red pigskin leather. So there's that aspect also to connect the 2 heroes together. This is a page here showing the first tower getting hit. This is another cover here that I like the way it came out. This is Pigman's Vow. I thought it was a pretty strong graphic to put the Twin Towers. It's a gravestone, but cut it in half, and it looks like Twin Towers, and he's vowing vengeance. Our politicians can live with our deaths. George Bush and the whole, the government at large could live with our deaths. They're like, well, because if they couldn't live with our deaths, they would have nuked a few of the places that the great sponsors of terrorism, from Saudi Arabia, Mecca, to Tehran. I know that sounds extreme because we haven't done anything like that since, but Japan killed almost 3,000 Americans, right? Military base, yeah. They went to civilians here. They slaughtered civilians, almost 3,000. They wiped out our cityscape, our beautiful, with the Twin Towers. Every time you drive into New York City, drive out of it, take the train, you always saw them. Every time I went to art school in Manhattan, I always saw them. I was there the night before, and I always saw them. And sometimes, whether I'm not sure that night if I actually looked up and saw them. You're so used to it, right? You're doing your thing. You go to art school. You're You're going around. I'm not sure if I'm looking at it like, wow, because it's always there. And then it's not there the next day. And I remember that night because it rained like hell. It was September 10th, 2001. It rained like hell that night. And the next day was gorgeous. And yeah. Anyway, so want to get us out there, want to get some more backers. I would really appreciate your support. If you haven't backed it, ask me. Ask me some things about it. I'll try to do a quick answer period. Comic books think whose rights the public is always used and abused in the pursuit of world business. Yes, yes, it is. You got a guy like even Don Jr. Getting in bed with Qatar. It's like Qatar is evil. They fund terrorism. They're out to Islamize the West. Trump touts that they're going to send trillions in America. What do you think the payback will be for that? That we can, keep things as they are and push Islam back and the Islamization of America? No, they're here to Islamize us. And that's when Trump gets stupid. That's when he has to say, wait a minute, how about if I, as commander-in-chief, how about if I study this enemy? How about if I get Robert Spencer to advise me here? The chief, I think, intellectual against jihad. The guy who knows more than anyone. The guy who knows chapter and verse, literally, jihad. Chapter and verse from the Quran. That's what he needs. He doesn't need some dumb advisors out there and saying, hey, do this, this, that. And Qatar's our allies. No, they're not. And you got J.D. Vance fucking around going to making deals with these rats, these savages, and they keep disrespecting him because they don't respect him. They don't. In their mind, they always think we're better than them. It's not because they believe that objectively, they're subjectively, they believe that. They have an inferiority complex that they mistake for a superiority complex. And they look at these infidels like J.D. Vance, say, fuck him. They walk right by him. They dismissed him. And the dummies out there not knowing what to do. And he also says, really like a retarded child, we love Pakistan. We love Pakistan. Pakistan is a funder of terrorism. They harbored Osama bin Laden and mass murder of Americans for 10 years. When there are women who get raped, they go to the police to report the rapes and they get raped by the police. And this dumb fuck goes out there and says, we love Pakistan. His wife's Indian. You think his wife appreciates that? What India has gone through with Pakistan? It's infuriating. It's infuriating that, civilians know far more than those in charge of what we're dealing with here. A cartoonist knows far more. And people, oh yeah, what would you do? I said, I'd wipe them out and then deal with the rest who hated the regime, the Iranians. Okay, you guys got a chance to join the civilized world. If you fuck around, we'll come back. That's all. And yeah, it's simple. Yeah, it is simple. We've never tried it. We've tried everything besides going all out war, intellectually, militarily, every front, culturally. We've tried everything but that. So this is my way of doing it as an artist. I can at least say, okay, in my world, this is how these guys will be dealt with. And here's the introduction here of Killian Duke, who's the ex-Muslim behind Pigman in my story. He got his bookshelf there. He has a lot of things here, things that I have clearly. John Ray Jr., you got Radiohead, you have Kirby, Ditko, Toth. You have good books on Against Jihad, Nothing Less Than Victory by John David Lewis, fantastic. A good guy. We had a little, not a debate, but we had a little argument once. He died a number of years ago, but, I was talking with him and he wrote that book and he had this one term, political Islam. No, not political. He had a term called state Islam, which wasn't bad, but it didn't account for the activists in the blogosphere in hey, show, how's it going? It didn't account for everything, meaning it's not just state Islam, it's cultural Islam, it's Islamization, it's individual who blog and who lie their asses off 24/7. So that's why I think the only term that I've ever used outside of Islam as such, because Islam itself motivates jihad, is organized Islam. Because to say, well, Islam as such is bad, organized Islam is even worse because it's organized. You got these activists really pushing what they believe to be truth. Now, of course, it's all lies, vicious lies. But in their twisted minds, they're told we have the truth. Everyone else doesn't. They're all liars. That's one of the biggest lies they tell themselves. Also, this idea, right? We are guilty as infidels. We are guilty until proven Muslim. That's the bottom line relationship with Islam has with infidels. That we are guilty until proven Muslim. This was also a cover I drew a number of years ago. I made a different version for it for this campaign here. It's usually on the side, and you can look at it either way here. Up front here. Make Explain was great. Alistair, great. I read maybe, I don't know, 10, I think, of his things, and I think it started to wane a little near the end, but man, they were strong. Ayn Rand called him a moral avenger. She loved the nature of the character, the brutal nature of the character, willing to get his knuckles dirty and also blow some heads off. It's awesome. And plus the name, Mike Hammer. And originally, it's funny. McSplain was a writer, and it was for a comic book, Mike Danger, right? And I don't know if it was as popular, but then he became a novelist. It became very popular, very popular. And then years and years later, I think there was a new Mike Danger comic based on the original idea, Mike Danger. But Mike Hammer is just it's a better name, like Hammer. He hammers the bad guys. It's awesome. Here's Killian Duke on the streets of Manhattan, seeing your Muslim friends who represent CARE, right? No show. This is in this new form. Issue 1 will include issue 1 and 2. And then issue 2 will be the issue 3 that you read. And then from there, it'll be probably 6 issues, maybe 7 in the end. That's the way I see it. And as I'm doing all this, I'm working on another project, which is all consuming. That's why I'm like, this is a little later than I would like to have released it, but I'm swamped here, man. I am. It's good to have this kind of problem, if you would call it that, right? It's all consuming. It's all consuming. I'm going to show you my latest page. One second. This is page 2, that one book. And again, I'm a little reluctant to mention anything because it's always up in the air with this thing. But this is latest here. It's a bar. It's a speakeasy, actually. It's a speakeasy in the 20s. So I made the stairs going down. Got a lot of smoke there, and we're having a good talk about something. So it's just fun stuff. And again, this is 18 by 24, the largest I've ever worked, ever. The largest I've ever worked. It's, you look at the pages like, okay, look at this. Let me show you. You look at this, right? This is 11 by 17. This is the average comic page. It's 18 by 24. Now, you would think, well, it's not exactly twice as big. It's actually a little more than twice as big. Look at that. This is the comic page, the average one, and this is the page that I'm working now. So it's a little more than twice as big, and I love it, and it's so funny. I'm so used to working like this right now that even when I'm working on it, it doesn't feel or seem as big as it did initially because you get used to it. You definitely get used to it, but it's so fun. I love that quality. It's awesome. Show writes, please complete it. I am eagerly waiting at issue 3. Cliffhanger was crazy. Thank you very much. I'm very glad to hear that because it is crazy, I gotta say. The biggest cliffhanger I've ever had, and I've had a few. That's the biggest one that I can imagine on both fronts, on the Pigman front and the Killian front. And you can imagine what you will, and then you'll read what actually will happen. It's fun. It's incredibly fun, and there are moments I still have in mind that I cannot wait to get to. Very dramatic moments, very hard moments, and also I bring in the element of Jar Muhammad in there as well. Draw, It does. It does. Comic books and Coots. It really does. Like sometimes if you watch me on the Kings and I am just I got ink all over my hands and pencil and shadings and gray wash and it gets pretty ugly. People make note of it and I'm like okay. And I don't know. I think they wear some gloves sometimes, but I don't know. I don't mind it at all, at all. Sometimes I get ink in the middle of my nails and under my nails. That's fine. I like the smell of it. I love the. So this is Pigman's first assault on Jihad as Pigman. If you notice the design here, guys, this is if you look at it compositionally, you see. Okay, I basically made an X there and there, right? And you got the big bad jihadists. They look back, they hear the Pigman's coming, and they get smaller and smaller as he gets bigger and bigger. I thought that was pretty cool. And you get to see small details there. You got his symbol, the Twin Towers. Okay, also this, guys, if you don't know, the symbol is the Twin Towers, right? The two dents there are the two hits, 1993, right? And okay, let me go symbol first. Twin Towers, right? And that S right there is September 11th. I think you guys can see. Can you see the arrow? Could you let me know? Thanks, Randall. Appreciate it. Hit that like and subscribe. Let's get more eyes on this campaign. Appreciate it, Randall. Please do, guys. Please. I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah, so this is September 11th. Let's see if I can do it. It might work out here. I don't know. With the arrow visually on the screen is September 11th. That's the symbol. And then also 9/11, right? A 9 that goes off there. And then that could be a 3 for Flight 93 and also 1993, the first attack on the Twin Towers that killed 6 people. If you guys remember that. And then, of course, American flag, a big, fat American flag belt buckle. And it's not just a belt buckle, as you'll see. Thanks, Shaw. Appreciate it. Yeah, he's a big guy, 6'5", 300 pounds. He's big. And again, he wasn't quite ready for prime time. He's a little older, but he's like, ready or not, I got to do this. And then you have, and again, this was, someone brought up Wolverine. Yeah, there's that look that Byrne gave Wolverine. Something about the mouth and it just worked so well. And I absolutely loved it. And I'm looking forward to Byrne's X-Men coming up. It's not going to be like the old one. It just won't be. Terry Austin's not going to ink it. But, hey, it's John Byrne doing X-Men. To me, he's the greatest X-Men artist of all time. I liked other artists. I liked Jim Lee. I liked Jeremy Jr. I liked Paul Smith. I liked, I could never get behind Dave Cockrum. I don't know. People tell me he's all great. I never saw it. I never did. Not before Byrne came and not after, especially not after. I don't know what it was. It looked small and childish almost to some extent, But, and here also you get to see the second in command, Zawahiri of Al-Qaeda. Allahu Akrak. And if you notice, I did this in Tale of One. I'm doing this in my current book also. This is a panel within a panel design. I remember someone reviewing it and they said they never quite saw this before, this technique. I don't know either. I don't think I've seen it before, but it's a panel within a panel, meaning that guy's in front of Pigman, right? And there's a panel to show what's in front of Pigman. It's going right through Pigman. He goes, Allahu Akrak. He just says, die, with no period. Breaks him. He gets shot in the back. And while it's bulletproof, it hurts like hell. So he was like, ooh. And then he turns around and he's like, you. And you see his eyes. You actually see his eyes through the mask. And then here you got the brothers going at it, arguing. And again, it's a battle between the recovered Muslim and born-again Muslim, and the same thing with the Pigman's world, Pigman Super Jihad, Frank Warner and Muhammad. And it's their same battle. Here you have, jihadists going over the cliff after Pigman. Pigman is like, There's a whole pack of jihadists, right, saying Allahu Akbar about the suicide bomb. And he's like, oh, shit. So he's like, all right, jumps off the cliff, right? And they jump right after him. And he says here, I think this is some fun dialogue. I know I got a kick out of it. He says, madmen, madmen, misogynists dying and killing for 72 quote unquote women, only in Islam. So he shoots that gun, poof, right? And unfortunately, they blow up his grapple gun, blow it right up. He goes, next step, flying. And then there's this comic book convention, a small press comic book convention, right? And it never happened in our world. It never did. But it happens in Killian's world, Pigman's world, where there's a comic book convention talking about the post 9/11 comics. And you got all these different types, right? You have a comic book by a Muslim called America, right? With the crescent. It's what if America became Islamic, right? And then you have the Ecumen, which is made by a Catholic who believes that we're all the same, right? We're all the same. And there's like, you know, Muslim holding arms with a Christian and a Jew. And then you have this other guy, this communist, 1 second, who has a comic book called Love at First Fight. It's a Israeli soldier and a Palestinian terrorist. Gay. It's like the guy says it's like a Brokeback Mountain for the Middle East. And then you have, of course, you have Killian Duke with Pigman. And he's a little bothered about what he sees here, but he's like, yeah, you know, what are you going to do? This is where I am. So I just want to give that little preview. And then also, you saw the page I showed you before, right? I do sell my original art for a Pigman. So you guys can purchase original art. I have over 100 pages of that. And here's the original art that you saw earlier. It was a dominant color, if you notice also. I like it sometimes. It's like, you don't get to get too nitty gritty. It's one dominant color of like, and it's dominated by Pigman's color, this entire scene, right? The pigskin leather color. It dominates the entire scene, the entire creatures. And by the creatures, I mean the jihadists. And these guys are scared shit. That's what we need. We don't need the Iranians still threatening us. Still today threatening us. Today. We don't need that shit. We have to pummel them so bad that they are scared shit. More of us than they are of Allah. Show says the eyes too, not pure white like most superheroes, but highlights to the pupils. Yes. Allah, correct. That's awesome. Thanks, man. Evening, Salty. How's it going, man? Good to have you here. I do appreciate you guys being here. If you haven't backed it, please consider backing. I would really appreciate your support. I'm just trying to give you some more reasons to consider that, put you over the edge, and hopefully back it. Here's a print I have, also a trading card, digital copies. I have this trading card as well. I have a whole I Want It All pack, right? You get the 7 different covers. You get the war paint print. You have the Pigman T-shirt, and you have the original drawing of Pigman, right? Original drawing by me, signed, and then you have the 3 different trading cards. So that's what I have. And I didn't want to add another cover just now for this when I revived the campaign. Just brought, I don't know, 8 covers. If there's interest, I'll do it, but I just don't think. Vic Sage, yes, comic books and Coots. There's something there too. The question, right? And by the way, I just reread Watchmen, and I'm rewatching the movie also. I have a love-hate relationship with it. I can't stand Alan Moore's pushing of liberalism, communism, leftism. And also, if you haven't read it, check out, guys, please. If you haven't read it, check out. But I'll repeat this, right? Because it's bookended, the graphic novel, by the murder of a right-wing character in the opening and a murder of a right-wing character at the end. It's not by accident. And at the end one was very questionable within the story, because the guy who did it, if you haven't read about it, if you've read it, I just don't want to. The guy who did it was a cold-blooded bastard who had lost his entire humanity, didn't give a shit about what happens in the world, right? So why the hell would he murder the character? Why? Because Alan Moore couldn't leave the book without having him murdered. That's why. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense at all. And even Ozymandias was like, yeah, whatever. You know, he wants to tell the world who will believe him type thing. The other guy was determined to put him down like a mad dog, and it didn't make sense with the character. But again, I just think that the bloodlust within the leftist that is Alan Moore. I don't care what people say. He's an anarchist. He's a leftist. He wore a hammer and sickle. But again, it's a graphic novel that I get very engaged in. I have watching The Watchmen, the book, the hardcover making of. I have the absolute version. I have the luxe version. I have the digital version. I have the small version. I didn't. No, I had a small version in my hands today actually, but I was like, you know what? Maybe at one point I have the Dark Knight version. But the point is, I'm a fan of it, but I have a love-hate relationship with it. I will skip some parts at times. Some of the pirate stuff, I'm like, I know he was trying to echo it, but we have the main story. There's far too many characters to begin with for us to focus on another story to try to enhance it. Didn't enhance anything, really. I think it took away from it. And some of the back papers, from the Mask, Hollis Mason wrote the story about the Minutemen and the Watchmen, if you remember that. But it's great. It's a great piece of work. And you take Rorschach out of there, though, it's over. But also the cartoon version of what Moore considers to be a right-wing character, like the comedian, right? He's in Vietnam, happily burning people alive, No. Doing the things he does, slicing people, just killing them haphazardly with no conscience. I don't buy that at all. I know it's supposed to be a corrupt version of Captain America, but that's a Englishman idiot idea of what it is. Salty, thanks, man. Backed in several of your original pieces, framed back Pigman now. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Yes. Alan Moore is still fighting Ronald Reagan era nationalist boogeyman. Absolutely. And again, I can't stand him politically. I think he's a piece of shit politically. I think some of the stuff in Watchmen is a joke. I think Ozymandias is a piece of shit, as is Dr. Manhattan, and then the passivity of the other characters. But there's also one thing, guys. If you read that graphic novel, the comedian, right? He discovers this mad idea, right? What do you do about it? He goes visit Moloch and cries about it. What? He doesn't tell his boys in the Watchmen. He doesn't tell Rorschach or Dr. Manhattan or anyone else. He keeps it to himself. He sits home in his robe watching TV. No. A guy like that, I think, would try to avert it, at least. If he's not going to do it himself, at least let people know, look, I discovered something. It's horrific. And maybe let's stop it. Instead, he's crying like a bitch. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to the character either. I think he's a man of action, right? So, but again, to hell with that. I want to have him dead in the opening. That's what it was. A right-wing character dead, a right-wing character dead. The other guys, I let them go. The leftists, the liberals, the neutral person, whatever, who's walking around, I don't understand life. Rorschach tells him the comedian died. He says, life or death, it doesn't make a difference. Oh, yeah? So then why'd you murder him at the end? Why? If it doesn't make a difference, right? Terrible. So again, it was flawed, but goddamn good. And why was it good? Because you have a good writer, Alan Moore, trying to channel what he expects or anticipates Ayn Rand / Ditko, based on Ayn Rand's philosophy, character like Vic Sage, the Question, and Mr. A, right? And what happens is that you have a character of integrity, doesn't compromise. He's a man who believes in justice, actually believes in justice, in good and evil. And he doesn't give up. All the other guys give up. He's the one who never quit. He was still on the streets fighting crime. The others gave up for years at that point. So absolutely, a comic book symbol. Exactly right. Rorschach was the only one who interested in justice, 100%. Show says, what do you think of Rorschach being a reference to Question? 100%. That's what it is. Because what happened actually, Show, if you don't know, is that Alan Moore had this idea to bring the Charlton characters, that they would be the original Watchmen characters, right? Captain Adam ended up being Dr. Manhattan. Night Owl, Blue Beetle. Rorschach, Mr. A. The Question, actually, because the Question was a slightly more mainstream version of Mr. A. Mr. A was a little more ruthless. A little more philosophical though, in the worst sense, because you got Mr. A pounding bad guys in the alleyways and giving them philosophy lessons. It's bad. It's not good. In this life, you must understand it. It's like you're wasting your breath and you're wasting your punches. Well, the punch is fine. You're wasting your breath. You're not going to teach thugs like this. You teach them by beating the shit out of them, then maybe throwing a shrug at them, maybe after the fact. But that's about it. Upside the head, using it actually as a weapon, like Killian Duke uses the Quran, the hardcover Quran, against those guys and bops them in the head, knock them out. But yeah, so the original characters would have been, and then some before I guess it became official. DC said, you know what? We bought the Charlie characters. We want to use them for different stuff. So you just use you just create some amalgamations based on them, right? Which is fine by me. Totally fine, because we wouldn't have Rorschach otherwise. And who's a fascinating character. He's the only one who's real, who cares about the truth, who cares about justice, cares about the world he lives in, and more thought. He wished and hoped that the readers would hate him. He ends up being the most compelling character in the graphic novel. He hated that, which is awesome. Love it. Absolutely love it. I know, show. He kills them, and sometimes he roasts them. He definitely roasts them. Sometimes, like, there's one time where the word gets out that you got a pigskin-clad, inverted jihadist in their perspective. Like, he's as ruthless as they are, but against them, right? And he wears pigskin leather. So they hear that he's coming. So guys are shooting themselves in the head and slicing their own throats. And guy says, stop. It's forbidden to kill yourself in Islam, right? And it is. Suicide is forbidden. So they get into a circle and they say, okay, I got it. So they put a gun to each other's head in a circle. 5 of them, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, so not committing suicide technically, right? And Pigman comes across him and he goes, guys, you're killing me over here. And he starts snorting. And then one of them is still alive, and he sees him. It's an American. He goes, I'm an American. And his head's bleeding. He goes, American. He goes, you're not American. He goes, okay. He says something like, don't bother blowing your brains out because you don't have any, right? He roasts him there, and then he says, I'm an American. He goes, American. He leans down. He goes, you're not American. You murder Americans, and that's why you're dead. And he puts his hand, goes on the big screen, on the panel, completely covers the guy's face, and it goes all pitch black, kills him. There's no other way to deal with them. You don't negotiate with them. You kill them, and that's the answer to jihadists. And what it does is you kill enough jihadists, there'll be less jihadists, less Muslims willing to be jihadists. That's a fact. Because they'll be scared shit. They'll start looking at the world a little like, I don't know if I want to do that. That's not as smart, actually. I want to do something else. Yeah, I think that's right. Let me join the civilized world. Yeah, this is a little take on Mission Impossible. Submission Impossible. Submission Impossible. Anyway, yeah, it's fun, he makes fun of these guys. Let me get something here quick. 1 second, guys. There's one guy who's threatening him, right? Pushes his head into his shoulders, into his chest. So his head is crushed into his body, and his shoulders are up here, and his eyes are bulging out, bleeding. And he goes on the ground. He's convulsing, and some guys are there. The guys they were filming him about to behead a journalist, a Western journalist, right? And they say, "Oh my God, don't let him touch you!" And they run and they crash through some glass and fall 100 feet down to the ground and kill themselves. Pigman looks down. He goes, "What a waste." He looks back at the guy, journalist, of glass. What a waste of glass. That was nice glass. And the journalist is like, I'm so sorry. I wrote all those terrible things about you. He goes, what? He goes, Mister, I don't know who you are. Let's get out of here. And the guy feels even worse. He was a leftist journalist who was trashing, Pigman prior to being caught by jihadists about to be killed. Pigman saved his life, and he apologized to him for writing all those terrible things about him. He goes, I don't know who you are. You're just some victim of these guys. And come on, move. I love that because it's like he's not there to play favorites. He's not there to. He doesn't care that the guy trashed him. Who gives a shit? He's an American. He's an innocent. If he was from any country, it didn't matter. If he's innocent, he'll be protected by him. Yes. Comic Books and Coos writes, he got to the truth despite the smartest man in the world trying to cover up his scheme. Absolutely right. Right. The smartest man in the world, And one of the worst also moments was when Ozymandias told Manhattan, did I do the right thing? It's like, dummy. You gotta ask yourself before you do that kind of horror, that kind of horror. And this idea that would end, that's the twisted mind of Alan Moore. Like in his mind, it's like Alan Moore killed millions of Americans in there, right? Why didn't the story take place in London or England? Why not? Why didn't it take place in UK at large? Why not? Well, why not? I'm just curious. I guess he wants to have to say so in American politics. Hey, man, how about your say so in English politics? How about that? But whatever. Look, I love it. I think it's great. It belongs right there, side by side with Dark Knight. But Dark Knight's a little different, right? It's more of a celebration of the hero, whereas Alan Moore tried to dissect a living, breathing thing, which was superhero comics. In his mind, he thought, okay, I'm going to deconstruct and dissect this, and therefore it's over now. Superheroes are gone. No, they're still alive and well. The concept, at least, not the industry. Yes, let's see. Graveyard Grifter says, you once said Punisher cried too much in that new show, but I watched Lord of the Rings and all the real men cry there. What's your take? All the real men cry there? I just rewatched the entire trilogy recently also. It's awesome. It's a great, great experience. All the real men cry there. I don't know if, I know, what's his name that does a lot of crying? Frodo. Um, I don't know if all the real men cry there. I think men can cry. I think absolutely. I think there's a moment, a time and place. I mean, I watch movies, I get teared up, and it's not crying per se, but I definitely get choked up and teared up when terrible things happen. Definitely. I'm not a crier per se. I'm not like Jordan Peterson who cries every time he goes on a show. It's like you got to get a hold of yourself, man. But my point about the Punisher is he's a Punisher. He's cold-blooded killer. He already went through that pain. He already went through that. Now he's someone else. He went from Frank Castle, family man, soldier, to Punisher. A vengeance machine, He doesn't have the luxury to go, and the way, John Bernthal plays him. He co-wrote that one, right? So he's such a drama queen. He's like, I'm going to have him cry 4 times. I'm going to have him do drugs and thrown up and screaming. And I don't like his Punisher. I think he looks the part. That's about it. I think it's ridiculous. And again, you got 4 cries in a 50-minute short by the Punisher. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. That's not what you do. And even I posted something about an actress who was there talking about crying scenes, right? And saying once, and it better be a damn good reason. I understand the Punisher, and someone I think in the chat when I mentioned it on the King show, I was going off on it. I said it's offensive to me, and they said, "Yeah, you don't understand. You don't have a family. It's, whether I do or not, no one will know. I don't talk about it. There's a good reason why, but the point is, it's a Punisher. He's never done this before. It's like Alan Moore. The first time he wrote Superman, what happened by the end of that first comic? You got Superman crying in the Fortress of Solitude, crying. Why? Because Alan Moore wanted to bring down our hero. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care how you put it. We didn't see that before. He brought him to his knees emotionally. He's crying. And it wasn't for anything concrete, if I remember correctly, to be honest. It wasn't something that was like worth crying over. It was some disillusionment of somehow, right? It's like, what are you Brits coming in here to try to bring down our icons? You got some, don't you have any? I guess not, like Superman, Batman, there's nothing there. But the point is that I hated that. And I sure as hell hate Frank Castle crying 4 goddamn times and then walking through the city and seeing people butchering each other just walking through indifferently. It's like, nah, no. So yeah, I don't quite buy that. And I don't remember anyone in the Lord of the Rings crying the way he cried gratuitously 4 times in 50 minutes. That movie is, 10 hours of special editions, right? 12 hours, whatever it is. I have the special editions. So, um, exactly. Comic books and goose. I remember Conan the Barbarian crying, just saying exactly. Imagine that, right? Imagine that. You got a John Buscema Conan or Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan, and he takes a break. He's like, goes behind a cave. It's like, nah, man. Nah, bro, you just lost me. You can go through terrible times. You can be Wolverine and get dropped at the altar, right? And have one tear, and it's like, okay, okay, I get it. That's fine. Bawling? No. Drunk crying? No. Sloppy? No. Absolutely not. Terrible. But again, he's a drama queen actor, so I'm gonna make him cry 4 times. Bernthal, he's okay. I don't know. He's not. I don't know. I don't get it. That Punisher series, by the way, Netflix, terrible. First one wasn't great. Second season was even worse. I don't remember. I don't remember it. That's how bad it was. Maybe I blocked it out. With the young girl in there, I don't know. Looking for vengeance, I guess. She wasn't great either, actress or anything. Shows that don't you think Watchmen influence stuff like The Boys? Sure, these superhero deconstructions already feel tiring. Yeah, yeah, and that's why I think something fresh, new, earnest, sincere would help. It's not Pigman, and Pigman's a brutal killer. I mean, he kills jihadists. He's not some knight in shining armor. He's not. I make no illusions about that. I love Pigman, but he's not like a ideal superhero. He has a simple mission, and it's extreme, it's ambitious, it's maybe undoable, and jihad. Nothing short of that. Nothing shorter than that. And jihad. That's his goal. Whether he does not, whether he dies trying, you got to go big, right? Um, Scott Cranage writes, a UK civil war against Islam is coming. It will spread across Europe. Dr. David Betts' videos are on YouTube. It will be inevitable, Scott, inevitable. And the weakness of UK leaders have made it so. The weakness, they have made it so. And they have created a place where vigilantes, not just vigilante individual ones, I think vigilante groups will come out and do some damage. They absolutely will. They've made it so. You cannot have a society that accepts mass, decades long, 70, 80 years long rape starting in 1955. You can't have that without losing yourself. We all have a conscience. It's like you cannot live like that and allow it to go unpunished. Impossible. People say it's over. It's never over until if you fight, you can wipe it out. You can wipe out this evil. It's never over until it's over. This idea that Europe is finished doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be. It's just that that entire generation that sold us out has to go by the wayside and be imprisoned. You got to have politicians in prison. Those who unleashed hell on London and the UK at large, they got to be in prison. They have to be. They did this to themselves. Muslims just rode it. Like, okay, we're going to ride your weakness. You're going to bring us in? We're going to take over. That's what they do. Graveyard Griffith writes, do you think America in that place crying would be okay? In that place crying? I don't know what you mean by in that place crying. But Captain America, he can shed a tear. He got the Frank Miller comic with Marvel fanfare. Roger Stern wrote it. Frank Miller penciled it. Joe Rubinstein inked it. And he's on a cover with a burning flag, right, holding it. He's tearing up. That's a nice symbolic image, I just don't want to see Captain America crying about Daredevil, right? His life gets blown up in Born Again. Blown up, right? You don't see him bawling. You see one moment where it could be either perceived as from the explosion, right? All the smoke. Maybe he's crying. Maybe his eyes are going because of the smoke, right? And the fire. The point is that his life was blown up and he didn't lose his shit. He didn't. And so let me know what we're talking about. Graveyard Grifter. DJ Grave makes, hey, DJ, it makes me wonder what Alan Moore thinks of Winston Churchill. Absolutely. I imagine he hates him. I imagine he probably thinks he's some kind of lout, the way he speaks. Alan Moore. He's like, he mentioned Rorschach's politics, like something like disgusting. It's like, disgusting. You have disgusting politics. Your story is, the ones you leave alive are the sellouts, the bad guys. The two best characters, most fascinating characters, most compelling ones, of course, Rorschach is the top. Comedian is a little too cartoony for a good, quote-unquote, bad guy. He really is. Hey, what's up, Daniel? How's it going? Danielle, how are you? Comic books and Spider-Man cries, the Punisher cleans his guns. Yes, Spider-Man can cry. He's a younger guy. He's a light-going guy. And think about this, comic books and Hoots. When Gwen was taken out, what did we see Peter do? Did he do what the Punisher did in that recent thing? No. He went home, really hurting. He sits down, and Mary Jane comes in there and she goes, I thought I want to be here. He goes, oh, please, like, get out of here. You don't want to be bothered by this. Go party, do something, right? And you don't care for us straights here, me and Gwen. And he has his head down, but you don't see him bawling. He's hurting really bad, right? And then her first glimmer that she's grown up a little, Mary Jane, instead of leaving, goes up to the door and closes it and stays with Peter, and that's it, right? That's all we see. We don't see him losing his shit and taking drugs and crying and drinking and going always screaming. I hate that. I fucking hate it. Stop. Are you an ape? Stop. Cold-blooded Punisher. Punisher Warzone. Chuck Dixon, Jarmy Jr. Cold. Boom. Boom. That's it. Next. Alistair Crowley says, I like how every time anyone asks Captain Chokeout what's going on across the pond, he always replies, it's fucked, mate. It's really fucked. Yeah, it is. Doesn't have to be, though, in the end. That's the whole thing, They can save themselves. You got the spirit of a guy like Tommy Robinson, and that spirit is spread out across the country. Believe me, it's alive. It's just that all we see is the scum media and the government, the scumbags, who are Islamophiles who allowed the country to be run over. They did this to themselves. The government and the media, not the people. The people didn't want this. They never voted for this. And it came to the point where it's very practical in this sense, like the savage politicians, leftists, they're like, fuck. They're not going to vote for us anymore. They're sick of us. You got to have full-blown communism where that's it, right? You can't have half-assed communism, election by election, meaning some communists will go in and then right-wingers come. They can't afford that. So they say, okay, we're going to bring in savages to vote for us savages because all we want is power. Fuck the country. All we want is power, and all they want is some freebies, and we'll give them freebies. So that's what they did. They try to change their voting base. As simple as that. It's sickening, but it's true. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, right? The mastermind behind 9/11, right? The guy who actually thought about flying planes to buildings, right? That fat fuck. His interrogators found out that his main goal wasn't terrorism, wasn't to, destroy America through terrorism, was through immigration. It's immigration jihad. That's what it is. It's immigration jihad. They use it as a weapon. They weaponize everything. They weaponize words. Islamophobia. There's no such thing as Islamophobia. It's as real as Nazi-phobia, right? Graveyard Griffin, let me know what you meant, if you just follow up. Anthol, I'm not sure, sorry. Comic book is a goose. Frank Castle cries less than Jason Voorhees. I'm not sure what you mean there. Does Voorhees cry? Or or in okay, in the actual character. Okay, not to the John Bernthal version. And again, he looks apart. He has that busted up face, the nose, jacked up face. It looks like you know, compact version of Jeremy Jr.'s. And Jeremy Jr.'s Punisher to me is the best Punisher. He's a brutal looking brute. He's a big guy. He's ruthless. And by the way, I just want to comment on Jeremy Jr.'s issue 1000 of Amazing Spider-Man that is getting roasted, right? And I agree, it's not a great cover at all. The pose is not great. I love Jeremy Jr. At his best, I think he's an all-time great. You look at his Daredevil run, you look at Daredevil Man, Man Without Fear, you look at the old Spider-Man. To me, before he got into the McFarlane, a lot of lines, big eyes, the Spider-Man he did in the 80s was great. You know, his X-Men was great. His Iron Man was great. But this was not a great cover. It was pulled and now it's being put back. And the one thing it did is that it made people appreciate Ramita a little more, showing his old stuff. I haven't seen it in a long time. He's been trashed. He's been actually equated with Rob Liefeld, which is impossible to me. And Rob Liefeld trashes him also. Rob Liefeld thinks he has a nerve to trash John Romita Jr. and Greg Capullo. Rob Liefeld? That's sickening. Rob Liefeld is the worst comic book artist of all time. The worst. Energy. Okay. He didn't put any energy in learning how to draw. Al Milgram is terrible, but at least he can tell somewhat of a story, right? Um, I haven't, Daniel, but I have drawn her with a Hitler mustache, which is a star, a star of David with like a Ghostbuster symbol, like a nothing to do with that. I've drawn her also with her eyes almost at the side of her head because her eyes are pretty wide apart. But look at her also, she's not only just scumbag rat. And I said, I just posted this actually, in terms of, I said, if there were a price to pay for hating Jews, as Jew haters claim, many would disappear. Many Jew haters would disappear. It's true. It would become as fashionable as it has, as they're just monkey see monkey idiots. What do you think so-called based edgelords? Why do you think so-called based edgelords trash Jews, but avoid condemning Islam and John Muhammad? Because there's a price to pay for it. There's a price to pay for it. Edgelords, they should go everywhere, right? It's like, oh shit, I'm gonna stop at Islam. It's like they're not an edgelord. I mean, an edgelord is not a real thing anyway. It's just a bullshitter throwing shit out at the wall. But I do got to get to work. But okay, graveyard grifter. Sorry, I mean, if Captain was in Frank's shoes at that moment, would he sob? At what moment are you talking about? Where he was thinking about his family stuff? And again, we've been through that. This is episodes and episodes and episodes and years of this Frank Castle version, right? He didn't do that before. I didn't, I didn't see that. He has a soft spot for Karen also. Um, I don't know. It was bad, and they said, yeah, it was brutal. Yeah, fine. Did you, kill some bad guys at the end? Manucci didn't really work in this version. She worked in the comic because she's a ridiculous character, but pretty funny. She gets eaten by some polar bears, and all that's left of her is her trunk. No arms and legs. They make her into a cripple here. Paraplegic, I guess, or something. Yeah, comic books news. Fred Ward would have made a good Punisher. Absolutely. That busted up nose, face, tough, rough looking guy. Yeah, I can see that. What was a movie he made? It was supposed to be like a series. It didn't quite work because it wasn't as successful, but I was looking at it a little bit the old day. But I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you very much, man. Just wanted to pitch Pigman. Give it, another shot. Another shot at getting out there and getting some backers and, showing you guys what's what. Check out the trailer. I will show you the trailer, okay? Let me do that. Let me show you the trailer and then let me get going. How can I do this? I can do this by 1 second, guys. Okay. I'll get me out of the way. put this here, play this.
My name is Bosch, and I'm a recovered Muslim. I was born to Albanian Muslim parents in the Bronx, New York, and I forgot about Islam for years. 9/11 hits, and it all comes back to me. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to respond to this with my art. I'm going to exploit the Islamic enemy's picture. And I wanted to have this big force of nature wrapped in pigskin leather and go after him. He's ex-Muslim himself, like me, and just go out there and pummel them out of existence. It's based on my life, my reaction to 9/11, my Muslim background, and then I bring that forth to the brothers and the twin brothers in there. One is a recovered Muslim, one is a born-again Muslim, and one of the brothers, the recovered Muslim, creates a comic book called Pigman within the story. He's my stand-in. This is a special edition of Pigman #1. It has bonus material, extended scenes. So I just want to thank you for taking your time to listen to this and consider getting Pigman #1. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for indulging me. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time. It was nice going back and forth with you guys. Very much. Hey, Faust Fury. Hell. How's it going, man? Remo Williams. Thanks. Comic Books and Goods. Yes, yes, yes. Show says, have you seen what's happening with the new Supergirl movie? I haven't paid it too much attention, but I will say that, excuse me, I will say that she seems like a real dummy, the actress. Real stupid. Rachel Ziegler stupid. Talking about how she's bi. It's like, yeah, you're fucking up here, Doesn't look like, and maybe they know it's gonna not be as big as it should have been, so therefore they feel free to quote unquote be true to themselves. I don't know. I just I don't know. It gets it will get to the point I think where some studios are like, yeah, you know what? We're not going to have you out there promoting the movie to certain actors. It's like you're bad for business, so yeah, we'll have you in a movie, whatever, but we're not gonna have you out there. But they have them out there, and they keep giving people reason that might have gone to seen it. They give people a reason. I'm not sure if I'm going to watch it. I don't know. I don't know. Spider-Man, I probably will watch it. Even so, with the dumb casting of Nolan's, Odyssey, it might be good. I like Nolan movies. Outside of Tenet, I don't know what the hell he's thinking with Tenet. I'm not even sure he understood Tenet. And I know people said, "Oh, it's great." No, it's not. No, not at all. Graveyard Grifter, can't wait for Pigman, and my mom wants to read it too. She's 79. Thanks a lot, man. Graveyard Grifter, appreciate it. Thanks for backing. Thank you very much, man. I can't wait to get it out there, guys. And then move to Pigman #2, launch that at a certain point. Hopefully by fall, I'll try to fulfill this at the end of summer and go from there. Show says, please, more new Pigman issues. Don't leave us hanging with the issue 3. There is more, and it's going to go big. Show. It's going to go big. And deep, wide, big. And there's the element of Muhammad cartoons will be coming in there. And I will have Killian echo some of what I've gone through when I won the Muhammad cartoon contest, 11 years ago. He's going to deal with that. The consequences of that also, because it's like it goes a little further than just making a comic book against Islam and Jihad with Pigman, starts drawing Muhammad, and that's when things get a little more dicey. But appreciate you guys being here. Thanks a lot, man, and thanks for backing Pigman. Always appreciate it, guys. I always appreciate it. Thank you very much. Armin Asante, Odyssey is still the best to me. I haven't seen that. Guys, you take care. Be well. I will see you guys, some of you, at the Kings tomorrow. Always look forward to it, man. Always look forward to it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting Comics Get, guys. I really appreciate it. Back Pigman, if you haven't, check out this video. If you came late, put rewind. Check out, what I was saying about it and about comics in general. Love comics. You got the 2 big ones. You got the yes. Did you draw the Pigman? No. Okay. Graveyard Grifter. Sorry. I haven't yet. I have the moments, I have the scenes from Mike, and it's gonna happen. I mean, I'm gonna get it done. All things considered, I'm pretty fast with myself, as you can tell on the Kings. And I try to do a page a day. And by a page a day, I mean this: full pencils, ink, letter, and color. Sometimes I can muster two, believe it or not. All those four different things also. So I can get it done. And I saw something coming up from that. It looks pretty damn cool. So I will definitely get that out, get it done, and it's coming up, man. It's coming up fast. I mean, if you think about it, it's only a few months away, so I was like, wow, very, very exciting to be out there. But guys, you take care, be well. Happy Father's Day to fathers out there, and best to you. Take care. And let me know what you mean, comic books and coots. Let me know what you mean about wow. But yeah, so check it out, guys. Back Pigman if you haven't. If you're in the chat right now, back Pigman, please like my channel, subscribe to it, please. Follow me on X as well. I've been posting a lot of good stuff and getting a good feedback and bad. I mean, there's some freaks out there, I mean, some real freaks. But it's fun. Give me 1 second, guys. I just want to show you one thing quick. I don't know if I have shown you this, but let me show you a little snapshot at what I've been up to. It's just the one page that really jumps out in terms of just getting one thing out there quick. Let me pull it up here. Okay. This is, I think, a pretty strong piece. I showed on one of my streams recently the black and white version, but I will show you this version just quick. Okay. This page. I really like the way the page came out. The 3-point perspective, the characters here going at it. I'm going to let it go now, but I just wanted to show a little sneak at what I'm doing right now. It's 350 pages, this book. So, I think I counted, it was like I'm up to 700 or 800 pages in my career, and a lot of that has not been seen. Yeah, a page. And again, I even actually was able to pull off 2 recently, meaning the roughs I do is some rough pencils, right? I do it in small form, and then I do it in a larger form after, right? After I'm pretty settled with the composition, I do it in like 8x10, right? And then I take those, I transfer it onto the big sheets, 18x24, and then put it on Lightbox and pencil it there. And then what I do is, then I clean up the pencils and make them as sharp as I can be, ink it within a pretty short time, and then color and letter it. And my ideal is try to do it once a day. Sometimes some pages take longer than others. Sometimes they take a little less. And I don't try to get in my way in terms of putting a lot of unnecessary detail in there. I just don't do that. I try to cut to the bone, try to keep it with the characters and the gestures and the faces and the expressions. And again, I got a lot to do. And when I was doing this, I had to relearn things about lettering digitally and coloring digitally, which I did. I took about 2 weeks off and just did that, right? And I was really able to get my lettering top notch. It's the best lettering I've ever done. That's why I'm relettering all of the Pigman comics also. I'm relettering them all. So I have to. It's just not as good as now. But I can go on. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you very much, man. It was a pleasure. Thanks for the give and take. And for the little, about the Punisher stuff. I get it, man. I love the Punisher character. That's why I'm offended at stuff like that. It's like, I get it. He's thinking about it. His family, I can see him, a tear come down. Okay, fine. But, and the way he does it, no. Nah, not great. I'll see you on Kings also, Graveyard Grifter. Appreciate it. Guys, take care. Be well. Until next time. Thank you.